Everybody, we're back here, Day 3 Rockstar Energy Mayhem Festival, the 6th in a row, Boise, Idaho. This is Russ and Rose with Metalholic Magazine, bringing you 10 minutes of mayhem with the legendary John 5. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It's been we knew it was going to be a hot tour, but it's been a very hot start to the tour.
Yes.
So you guys are enduring so far, obviously.
It doesn't bother me. I like the heat. So I think I'm the only one on this whole tour that they're like, oh, it's 106 outside. I'm like, it's beautiful.
Well, you've lived everywhere, though. You've been in Phoenix. You're used to this sort of stuff. So this is Rob Zombie's second time co-headlining Mayhem Festival. It's got to be everything a young John Lowry dreamed of back in Grosse Pointe growing up.
That's right. I actually, to be quite honest with, everyone and everything, I wanted to be a session guitar player. And, I studied all these styles and just really, got prepared for being a session musician because, I didn't even dream of becoming rock star or anything like that. I didn't even, my dreams didn't even go that far. I just wanted to be a session guy. And so after a while of doing a lot of these sessions, some people said, oh, well, can you go on tour with us? And I said, well, I guess, and so that's when I started doing that, and it just kind of jumped from thing to thing to thing to thing.
Well, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, but we have to talk about the new album. Great album title, Venomous Rat Regeneration Vendor.
That's right.
I don't know how you guys came up with that, but it's out now. From your perspective, what sets this one apart from the previous zombie albums you've done so far?
I think the live sound and how we went about recording it. We went to Rob's home in Connecticut, and he had a bunch of houses in this area, and I just lived in one of the houses, and one of the houses was a studio, so we would, I'd get up in the morning and just walk over to the studio, and we'd have a start time, and we'd just do it. But it was a very live record, it wasn't like, we're going to do this, and then this guy, and then this guy. It was a very live sounding record, a very aggressive sounding record, and it's, all in all, the songs and the melodies and all that stuff are really catchy, and I think that's so imperative, and that's why I think people are gravitating towards the record. And, I really enjoy the record myself. It sounds to me like old White Zombie because I was such a fan of White Zombie back in the day, and it really does have that stamp to me, sounding like White Zombie. I dig it.
And there's really sort of a more organic undercurrent to it than I recognized on the last couple of albums. That may be what you were talking about.
Yes, that is, yes.
So, and of course you also did the soundtrack for Rob's new film, The Lords of Salem. Are you going to be working on the Broad Street Bullies project as well?
I don't know. That's a fine question. We're just taking one thing at a time. So, if Rob says, hey, Broad Street Bullies, and, get my hockey mask out and get my guitar and do my darndest.
Well, I have to ask, tell us a little bit about what you can of Rob Zombie's Great American Nightmare Haunted House event.
Well, first of all, I love summertime. I love these festivals, and I love Halloween. Ever since I was a kid, I just love Halloween so much. And when I found out he was doing the Great American Nightmare, I was so happy. When Halloween comes, you think of Rob Zombie and all that stuff, at least I do. And now it's like having this month-long kind of festival, if you will. It's going to be great. He was telling me about some of the mazes, but I don't know if he can legally do this. I mean, if I went in that maze and he told me what they're going to do, it's crazy. I mean, nobody will physically get hurt, obviously, but it's just something that's like really scary. Like some maze that no one has ever done before. So it's pretty intense. It'll be really cool. And then we're gonna play on the last the day of the Great American Nightmare, and we're gonna do a cool show for everyone.
As you guys always do. So you are so well known for your fretwork, but you're also such a prolific songwriter in so many genres. When does your mind rest? When do you slow down?
Well, I think when my mind rests is when you know, it's not good when my mind rests because, you know, just weird, you know, I just do weird stuff and it's not good. It's like, you know, you got to stay busy. And then that's what is very important for me is I just need to keep busy and keep working because, you know, my mind will go off in crazy ways. Not like, you know, drinking or smoking or anything, but just like I'll start doing weird stuff and it won't, you know, make really good sense, you know. And I'm not trying to like sound like just weird stuff. I'll like compulsively clean and stuff, you know, weird things like that. So it's good for me to keep writing and keep working and playing and all that stuff. That's why I do these instrumental records. I mean, I love playing guitar. It's it really keeps my mind occupied with, you know, how far I can push myself.
Well, and you usually put out one about every year and a half. We're coming up to that point again. What's going on with the next one?
Working on it right now, and I think I'm 5 songs in, and I'm, you know, thinking about some guests for this record. So I'm just trying to figure out who I want to have on it, you know, and who's available.
Which means, because you're usually the guest for everybody else.
Yeah.
You've done so many amazing things, which I want to talk about in a second, but you've had a long-standing working relationship with Bob Marlette. What is it about that relationship that works so well? Because he's such an incredible guy.
You know, I'm not sure. We have known each other for so long, and you know, I always listen to what he says, and he's such a great producer, songwriter, musician, and he's really something else. We've had a really long, you know, working relationship, and you know, you just find someone and you click with, and he's definitely that guy for me.
Nice. So you and everybody knows this. You've worked with so many incredible people over the years, and clearly we don't have time to talk about all of them, but I'd like to name 3 of my favorites and just get a few words from you on each of them. We'll start with my hero growing up, Paul Stanley.
Oh yeah, my hero too. Yeah, of course. You know, really strange. You know, because I've known the Kiss guys for a long time, and you know that was it for me when I was a kid. I used to think they weren't even real. You know, and it's just so strange for me to know them and call them my friends. Like Peter Criss is one of my great friends, and Ace and everybody. And I got a call. I was working with Desmond Child on Scorpions and Meatloaf and Ricky Martin, and then he was doing the Paul Stanley record. And actually, Paul called me and he said, "Hey, you know, come on over to the house. We're gonna write, you know, a song or something like that." And it happened just like that, and then we went into the studio, recorded it, and I remember I was doing backups with him and hand claps and percussion with him, and it was just so surreal, you know, it was just so weird.
I was going to say, it's like even now that you're headlining and doing all this stuff, it's still got to be growing up, admiring those people,
like, yes,
very surreal.
It's just like, you know, holding up a building with Superman or something like that, you know.
And you've done some stuff with Leonard Skinner. Most people probably wouldn't guess stuff like that. I mean, you've done Rod Stewart and all that stuff, but how'd you end up working with Skinner?
Let's see, I think my publisher, Mark Friedman, said Skinner's looking for some songs. You know, and I do a lot of bluegrass, country guitar stuff. So what I did was my publisher said, okay, you know, we're going to send you to Nashville and have you write with these guys. And I said, okay, you know, because I know all their songs, you know, I knew everything. But they didn't know me. So it was cold around that time, and I went walking in. I had this full-length black fur coat on, and I had no eyebrows at the time, and you know, they really didn't really understand what was going on, you know. And I came in there and I just, you know, played, you know, I think I played some like Chet Atkins or something like that, and they were into it. And you know, with that writing session, you know, I ended up working on 6 of the songs for their record. So, and then the record they just put out too, I worked on that one as well. So I love them. They're great people. I'll probably be friends with them for the rest of my life.
Nice. And the last one of my favorite new bands, Hailstorm. On their first album, you co-wrote one of the songs.
That's right,
one of my favorite songs on the album. How'd that come about?
You know, it's I think it came about through James Michael. He's, you know, I love Hailstorm. What a talent. And I remember seeing them and I'm going, oh, okay, they're someone to watch. And I was right. So
yeah, it's taken a Grammy already.
Yeah, it's incredible.
At this point in your career, being out on Mayhem and everything, playing with so many great people, but you're at the stature level where everybody looks to you. I was just talking to Blake Neal from Huntress. I said, if you could sit down with any of the guitarists on this tour and talk guitars, who would it be? Like John 5, of course. So, but do you still learn from other guitarists tricks and tips and stuff like that?
Every day, yeah. That's my thing. Is I love to learn, and I'm always learning, and I'm always getting education and theory and tricks and this and that as much as I can all the time. All the time. I just had my computer on before this, learning some Joe Mathis. He's this country guy, and learning some licks from him, and that is my drug, is just learning new stuff.
Knowledge is power, man.
Yeah.
So, last two questions before we get out of here. I know you got a lot of stuff to do. This is a quarter century now you've been doing this.
Wow, it's so weird.
It doesn't seem, because you're clearly still so young. What is probably the greatest lesson you've learned so far on the journey?
Well, through everything you learn what to do and what not to do. Because I watch. I'm always watching. I'm always looking and seeing what to do and what not to do. And I take advice, or I listen to the higher ups that have been doing this for a long time. Zombie, of course. I'm a sponge, because I'm listening to everything he's saying. Gene Simmons, who's a great friend of mine, he'll talk and talk and talk, but I really listen, because he knows what he's talking about. And people like that, because it's just like if someone has taken a certain way to a certain place, and they're like, hey, listen, I know which way to go. You go this way. You go, okay. You go that way. You just kind of listen to these guys that have done it, because they know the answers to the test.
Yeah, they've already been there and learned from their own mistakes, so learn from them as well.
Exactly.
Last question, the pointless question of the day. We're out here on America's biggest metal tour. If you could have brought one band along that's not metal, who would it have been?
Probably the Dixie Chicks.
Nice.
Love the Dixie Chicks.
Nice. Like to see them do something again sometime soon. So, John 5, thanks so much for taking the time.
Hey, this is John 5 on Metalholic Radio.